The gates to the Ashworth estate stood like iron sentinels, tall and immovable, guarding a world few could enter and even fewer could understand. Evelyn Hart adjusted her coat, the wind tugging at her sleeves as she read the message again on her phone. Please be punctual. My son does not respond well to change. A small, bitter smile crossed her lips. Neither do I, she murmured under her breath. She hadn't planned on returning to teaching, certainly not in this way. 2 years ago she had left the classroom after an incident that nearly shattered her career and her confidence. A student had accused her of being too harsh, too demanding, and the school board had believed him. The fallout left her reputation bruised and her heart in pieces. Since then, Evelyn had lived quietly, tutoring neighborhood children and taking whatever jobs came her way. But nothing had felt right. Until a call came last week from an agency that specialized in exclusive educational placements. The client was looking for someone patient, discreet, and unafraid of difficult cases. The pay was more than she'd ever earned. She didn't ask why the last 5 tutors had quit in less than a month. She didn't ask why the boy's name came with warnings. She just needed a chance to prove to herself that she could still teach, still help, still be useful. As the iron gates opened with a deep groan, Evelyn felt a shiver, not of fear but of recognition. Every story had a beginning, she thought. Maybe this one would be hers. The mansion rose before her like something out of a magazine. All sharp lines, white stone, and wide glass windows that reflected the pale morning sky. A uniformed housekeeper greeted her at the door. "Miss Hart? Mr. Ashworth is expecting you. Please follow me." Inside, everything gleamed, floors so polished they caught the sunlight like mirrors. Air scented faintly with lilacs and lemon polish. Evelyn's shoes clicked softly against the marble as she followed the woman up the staircase. "Your classroom is on the east side," the housekeeper explained. "We had it converted from the library. Master Theo prefers to learn privately." "Master Theo," Evelyn repeated, trying not to sound amused. "How old is he again?" 11. The housekeeper's eyes softened. "He's bright. Very bright. But difficult. You'll see." The door opened to reveal a large, sunlit room filled with books, models, and half-finished experiments. A globe stood in the corner, a telescope by the window. But the boy in the center of the room didn't look up from his tablet. "Theo," the housekeeper said gently. "This is your new tutor, Miss Hart." "I won't need her," Theo said without glancing up. "She'll quit by lunch." Evelyn's brows rose. Is that a prediction or a challenge? That got his attention. The boy looked up, sharp blue eyes, a mess of blonde hair, and an expression that was far too guarded for someone his age. "Both." The housekeeper's lips twitched with something like sympathy before she slipped away, leaving them alone. Evelyn set her bag down and pulled out a chair. "Well then," she said evenly, "I suppose we'll see which one of us is right." Theo leaned back, crossing his arms. "The last tutor cried. The one before that said I was impossible." "And what do you think?" Evelyn asked, taking a seat across from him. He blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean," she said, voice soft but steady, "do you think you're impossible?" Theo hesitated, then looked away. "I think adults always give up." Something in his tone, quiet, almost resigned, made Evelyn's chest tighten. She recognized that kind of loneliness. Sounded too familiar. "Well," she said, unfolding a stack of papers, "you'll find I don't give up easily." He didn't answer, but she caught the flicker of surprise in his eyes. They began with arithmetic. Simple enough until Theo decided to make it complicated. If train A leaves the station at 8 a.m. traveling at 80 miles per hour, Evelyn read aloud, and train B is irrelevant, Theo interrupted. Train A would derail before reaching its destination. She paused, looked at him, then smiled faintly. Morbid, but mathematically inaccurate. He frowned as if she'd just refused to play along. "Most teachers ignore me when I change the problem." "Then most teachers missed an opportunity," she replied, picking up her pen. "Show me how you got that conclusion." Theo tilted his head. "You're not going to tell me to stop?" "Not if your reasoning makes sense." He studied her for a long moment, then began scribbling numbers across the page. His logic was messy, unconventional, but brilliant. He'd added variables she hadn't even considered. You see, he said, eyes brightening, the track design would fail if... Evelyn leaned closer. If the curvature ratio exceeds the train's velocity by 0.3%. He stared at her, startled. You know that. I used to teach physics, she said simply. For the first time, Theo smiled, a quick, fleeting thing that made him look like a child instead of a small soldier bracing for battle. When the clock struck noon, Evelyn gathered her notes. Lunchtime, she said, standing. You've earned it. Tausthut, faithing in Dyphon. You'll probably quit after today anyway. She slipped her papers into her bag and looked at him. Theo, let me tell you a secret. He blinked. The people who leave aren't always running from you. Sometimes they're running from themselves. He didn't answer, but something in his posture softened just slightly. As Evelyn left the room, she caught a reflection of herself in the hallway mirror. Her eyes looked different. Less tired. More alive. Downstairs, the butler stopped her with a knowing nod. You lasted the morning. That's new. Evelyn smiled faintly. Maybe he just needed someone who didn't see him as a problem. The butler's gaze grew thoughtful. Or maybe, he said quietly, you both needed that. That night, as she sat by her small apartment window grading notes, Evelyn thought about Theo's words, adults always give up. Maybe that was true once. Maybe she had been one of them. But tomorrow she'd go back. Not because she needed the paycheck. Because for the first time in a long while she wanted to teach again. The next morning, the air was heavy with mist when Evelyn returned to the mansion. She was early, intentionally wanting to review Theo's notes before he arrived. She didn't expect to find him already there, sitting by the window with the telescope pointed at the fog-draped gardens. You're early, she said gently. He shrugged, not looking at her. Couldn't sleep. Nightmares. He hesitated, then nodded. My mom used to sit here with me. Before she got sick. The words hit softly but deep, like a whisper carried through glass. Evelyn didn't respond right away. She'd learned that silence, when held kindly, often spoke louder than comfort. She must have been someone special, she finally said. Theo nodded, eyes still on the clouds. She used to say stars were wishes that never gave up. Evelyn smiled faintly. Sounds like she was a teacher too. That earned a small broken laugh. No. She just believed people could change. That day's lesson drifted far from textbooks. They talked about the stars, about how gravity keeps everything tethered even when it feels like you're falling apart. Evelyn saw the boy's defenses crack open just a little, enough for her to glimpse the heart beneath his sharp words and quick wit. When lunch came, she gathered her papers slowly, waiting for the moment she knew would come. So, Theo said, pretending disinterest, are you coming back tomorrow? Evelyn met his gaze, calm but sure. I was thinking of coming back every day unless you're firing me. He frowned, then smirked. You can't fire yourself. Good, she said, standing. Then it settled. He hesitated. You're different. How so? You don't act like I'm broken. Her chest tightened. That's because you're not. The boy looked down at his hands, tracing the edge of his notebook. Everyone says I changed after Mom died. Maybe, Evelyn said softly, you didn't change. Maybe everyone just stopped listening. He looked up, eyes shining with something raw, something hopeful. That evening, as Evelyn left the mansion, she glanced back and saw Theo waving from the window. The gesture was small, but it filled her chest with quiet warmth. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like a failed teacher. She felt like someone who'd finally reached another soul, and in doing so reached her own. Later in her journal she wrote, some students don't need lessons. They need someone to stay. And as the mist outside her window cleared, revealing the faint shimmer of evening stars, Evelyn smiled. Wishes that never gave up. She finally understood what that meant.